Good morning. This is November 4th, 2021, and the Technical Advisory Committee for the RTC. And we're just going to give it another minute or so to see if other people want to join us. And for the record, this meeting is being recorded and it's on YouTube Live. Well, to the chairperson, it looks like we have a quorum and it is 9:01. If you want to start the meeting, we can take roll.
Okay.
Hi, Jackie. Can you do that for me?
Yes.
Thank you.
Kelly Mullen,
Present.
Lisa Butterfield,
Oh, I'm admitting Lisa right now.
Lisa Butterfield,
Good morning. Hi, I just got on the line.
Ian Pretendon,
Here.
Kurt Dietrich,
Present. Good morning.
Mitchell Fink,
Here.
Sandy Bruin,
Sandy is not here. She might not be here because there was a crash that involved the bus today, so she might be delayed from that.
Dan Huget,
Dan's on. He's just muted.
Elaine Wiseman,
Elaine is absent.
Julia Lander,
Julie.
Here, I'm here.
Alex Wolfson,
Here.
Amber Sosa,
I'm here. Good morning.
Chris Tolley,
Here. Good morning.
Kevin Bennett.
Kevin is absent.
Kevin Berry's out, but Julian Emery, I'm here in his place.
Hi, Jillian. Thank you.
And the non-voting member, Enos Hahn.
I don't see Ennis.
Okay, that's it.
Okay, so we do have a quorum and it is 9:03 and I'll hand it over to, oh, before I do that, let me take a moment to introduce staff. I'm sorry. For the record, we have Dan Dunges with planning, Michael Delude with transit, Jackie Maladondo with administration, Nancy Muse, James Weston, and myself from planning. And then we have, and Schwinn also, I'm sorry, I'm bad at this. I have people's notes all over. Schwinn Wong, David Carr from transit, Amber with executive team, and then Jim Gee with transit, and also Stephanie Haddock with finance. So thank you. That's all of our staff.
Did you want to mention the guests?
Yes, but I don't know who they all are.
Chris Cobb, Reno Tahoe Airport Authority.
Thank you, Chris. And we do have another guest that will be presenting and Michael will introduce him. Any other guests that I missed? I think Phil. Okay, with that, let's go ahead and start with the item number 1.
You're on mute, Julie.
I'm sitting here talking and thank you. Okay, on item 1, approval of agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Chris Tolley, Team RPA, so moved.
Thanks, Chris. Do I have a second?
Amber Sosa, City of Sparks, second.
Thank you, Amber. Item number 2 is public comment.
We need to vote on that.
Oh, do we have a vote? Yes. And all in favor, please say aye.
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 And then do we have any public comment?
We do not.
Okay, then moving on to item 3, approval of October 7th meeting minutes. Do I have a motion to approve?
So this is Kelly, move to approve.
Thank you, Kelly. Do I have a second?
Chris Tully, Team RPA, second.
Thank you, Chris. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, item
Uh,
number 4.
Julie, or Madam Chair, I'm going to abstain from the minutes. We did not have representation for that meeting, so Health District will abstain.
All right, thanks, Danielle.
And Julie, this is Rebecca. I'm sorry, on the agenda for item number 1, if we could reopen that because I do have an item that we need to pull and I forgot to mention that. So
All right.
after we finish this motion, let's go back to number 1.
All right, so we're on item number 3, approval of the minutes from October 7th. Do I have a motion to approve?
Julie, this is Kelly, I move to approve.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
Amber Sosa, City of Sparks, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then going back to item number 1, approval of the agenda.
So thank you. I apologize
Oh,
again.
that's okay.
We were asked by NDOT to pull item 5, which is the presentation on Mount Rose Highway Corridor Study, and that will be coming before the TAC in January as of now. So you
All
will
right.
see it, it's just postponed.
Okay.
Thank you.
Do I have to make another motion or are we okay?
I would say we're okay because it just says possible action, so we're good.
Okay. All right.
So
All right,
we
then
will
moving on.
be on item 4 now.
Okay, I'm moving on to item 4. It's an item to provide feedback and acknowledgement of a receipt of a presentation on the transit optimization plan strategies.
Thank you,
Do-
Julie. Michael Delude is on with us today, and I'm going to hand it over to him. So thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Rebecca and committee. My name is Michael Delude. I'm the Senior Technical Transit Operations Planner for the RTC. We are here to present our TOPS. Hold on one second here. Which is our transit optimization plan strategies, otherwise known as TOPS, is replaces our previous short-range transit plan, or SRTP. Here to do the presentation is Gary Hewitt from Transportation Management and Design, otherwise known as TMD, and I will hand it over to Gary to go through the presentation.
Great. Thank you, Michael. Good morning. My name is Gary Hewitt with Transportation Management and Design. We're a transit consulting firm based in San Diego, California. We specialize in helping transit systems optimize their transit service to operate more efficiently, to grow ridership, while also ensuring long-range financial sustainability. And I'd like to thank this group for moving me at the front of the agenda. I appreciate that. So as Michael mentioned, acronym for TOPS. When this is approved by the board, it'll be the short-range transit plan outlining the capital and operating projects over the next 5 years for the public transit group at the agency. As mentioned, a similar effort was completed in 2017. It's been 5 years. Again, most agencies do these every 5 years. And this plan will also inform the transit components of the regional transportation plan. It's an input to future plans, as well as we use the existing plan to help us set the resources for the transit component. So as we've continued our work with agencies during the pandemic, we've noticed some trends and lessons learned while conducting these types of studies. So first is the nationwide shortage plaguing the transit industry of drivers. Many have not been able to go back to their full service levels that they had pre-pandemic because drivers have either left the industry, and it's also difficult to find new ones. So this is something that's happening in your region. It's something happening across the country, large agencies, small agencies. Also, there's been a trend in these studies to focus more on essential workers. Transit is, there's different markets. The market of the commuter, the long distance commuter, white collar worker, those riders have largely left during the pandemic and have not been coming back to the service. In terms of the essential workers, people who need to be on site every day, a lot of those people continued to ride during the pandemic, and we anticipate to continue to ride after the pandemic. So some of the agencies are really focusing on that group. Having the peak level of service kind of flatten out, which that white collar people coming to more 8 to 5, 7:30 to 5:30 type job market, that has gone down a little bit. And so a lot of agencies are looking at providing more, we call all-day service, which would be longer span of service, first trip to last trip, also maybe more frequency during the off-peak and weekend periods. In terms of lessons learned as we work on these studies, I think a great opportunity is that people are open for big changes because of the pandemic. So they understand that there's been quite a change in the travel market in terms of where people go, types of trips people make. And so they're open to looking at changes to service. Also, we have new services like microtransit that have come online. And so I think people are open to looking at different types of services that are provided. Transportation equity has been a big focus for many agencies, making sure that disadvantaged communities receive the appropriate level of service. Also, in terms of consulting firm, we think that we need to be focusing on improving the entire customer experience. So this is everything from trip planning, mobile ticketing, waiting at the bus stop, cleanliness of the bus, those kinds of things. Our initial look at RTC is that they're kind of ahead of the game in a lot of those categories, but for some agencies, we're recommending those as improvements. Also, we have the opportunity to get higher involvement rates through stakeholders and from existing customers. And I think that's due to people's, just like this type of call, much more accessible. It's on YouTube. We also have people who are able to attend remotely and versus coming to in-person meetings. And we've seen for a lot of these types of projects that we actually get more participation now than we did pre-pandemic. So this slide outlines the tasks included in the project. So we're wrapping up task 2, which is the review of the existing service and the demographics in the Truckee Meadows area. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in some upcoming slides. We also done comparing RTC to other similar peer agencies as part of task 4. The next step of our process will be getting the initial feedback from customers and the general public about the public transportation services. And then we'll use all this information, put it together to develop draft recommendations, which will return to this group and the general public in January with. And then after we receive feedback on those initial draft recommendations, then we would bring the item to the RTC board for approval. So during our review of 10 peer agencies, there were some notable findings that are listed on this slide. The chart in the upper left shows per capita transit use among residents in Truckee Meadows, which is higher than the peers. This is a kind of a general indication of usage. So it takes the total amount of public transportation trips and divides it by the number of people that live in each area. The chart below it shows passengers per revenue mile service, which is a measure of how efficient the current service is operating. And also you can see that RTC Washoe is performing better than the peers. Some of the items that we'll look at in more detail as part of this study include that the short trip lengths and the lower bus speed than some of the peer agencies. It's also important to note the last couple bullets here is that the system is operating more cost effectively than most of the peers and has a pretty high fare box recovery. It's been the case with all transit agencies. RTC Washoe saw a major ridership decrease during the pandemic and has not completely recovered. Weekly boardings dropped from about 158,000 in September 2019 down to 100,000 per week in April of 2021. Shown in the graph on the bottom right, RTC did fare better, that's the blue line, than most agencies across the country, which are the red line for the Pacific agencies and the yellow line for agencies under 500,000. This is likely due to the fact that there's a lot of essential users of transit and that the service levels were kept at 100% basically during the height of the pandemic. A lot of agencies needed to reduce service due to labor and safety issues. The map on the left shows 2019 ridership per stop in red and the 2021 ridership in blue for the fixed route, bus, and flex ride services. The size of the dot is based on average weekday ridership. As you can see, ridership is down across most stops, but there are some areas where ridership has either remained steady or even increased. And this is something we'll be looking at as part of our study. This slide helps illustrate the level of weekly ridership for all of the different public transportation services. So some of the earlier slides, we were talking more about the flex ride, the ride, and the rapid services, but this is at all the public transportation services provided by the agency. The size of the box on the left indicates how much each route or service contribute to the overall ridership. The table on the right summarizes the ridership in some key categories. So the top 7 routes carry over 50% of the ridership, and you can see those are kind of on the edges here. For Route 1, the 2 rapid lines, Route 2 and 7, 11, 18, and 12. Also notable is that Vanpool accounts for 9% of the overall ridership. This is a very, very high number compared to the peers. And we really think that Vanpool is a great program, very cost effective for the agency to operate. And so that's a really good indicator. Access paratransit rides are 2.3% of all boardings. The flex ride, this is a combination of all the flex ride services, are 1.4%. And the regional connector to Carson is 0.2%. The Virginia Street corridor, comprised of the rapid route and Route 1, account for 20% of ridership. And one of the things that we bring up with our clients is that making improvements on these key corridors can impact the greatest number of riders. Our initial indication, this is something that is already being done with the rapid routes on the 2 corridors, which have the highest amount of ridership and the additional amenities and service provided on those corridors. In addition to reviewing the existing services, we also look to see if there's any gaps or areas which have emerged as needing transit over the last 5 to 10 years. So for this analysis, we looked at demographics which influence transit ridership. So population, jobs, also kind of unique is all trip activity. So this is could be going to the store, this could be going to school, those kinds of things are captured in that category. There's also a number of categories of users of transit that have a high propensity for ridership. That includes youth under 18, college age residents, low-income individuals, seniors, minority individuals, persons with disabilities, and zero vehicle households. These are then compiled into a transit demand potential index that is shown on this map. The darker the purple color, the more potential that area has. The map is also overlaid with the existing fixed route network. The green routes are routes that come every 15 minutes or more frequently during the weekday peak periods. The yellow routes are every 30 minutes or better, and the red routes are every 60 minutes or better. Also shown on the map are the flex ride zones in the dashed red. Slightly zoomed in, I know it's hard to read that slide, so we have a slightly zoomed in version. As you can see here, you'll notice that the highest demand areas are served by 15-minute and 30-minute peak bus routes. There are some pockets of demand to the eastern and western portions of the service area, which we'll be looking at more closely as part of the study. So another important component of the study, as I mentioned earlier, is to receive feedback from existing riders and the general public about what RTC is doing well and what could be improved. For this initial round of outreach, we're conducting an online survey. So we're surveying existing riders. Again, what are we doing well? Where can we improve? Former riders, asking a question, why did you leave? And what would it take to get you back? And this could be people that stopped riding either before the pandemic or during the pandemic. And then also non-riders. So that's a general public survey. So we're asking people to fill it out. And if they say they don't ride the service, we say, well, what would get you to ride it? Where does the service need to go that it doesn't go currently? Surveys available in English and Spanish, and it'll be open until December 3rd. Survey went live last night. We'll also get the word out through social media, onboard notices on the buses, as well as signage at the major transit centers. I would also like to encourage agencies such as yourselves to help get the word out to your constituents. Survey respondents who provide their contact information will receive a 7-day pass through the Token Transit app, which is a very, very good incentive. So this is a summary of the next steps for the project. So we're doing the community survey. We have the updates to the committees this month. Then we plan to come back to the public in these committees to talk about the draft recommendations in January of 2022, sorry. And also then go to the board for approval once we've received the public feedback and incorporated that into the recommendations in February or March. And then this is a plug for Mike here that, so if you have any questions or want to keep up to date on this project, you can reach out directly to Mike, and then he'll get the information along to us in terms of feedback or questions about the process. So that concludes my presentation. I'm available to answer any questions.
Before TAC has questions, I just want to note for the record that Aline Wiseman has joined the meeting.
Thanks, Rebecca. Does anybody have questions for Gary? So just a really quick, is the survey that you're talking about, is that going to be on the RTC website? Is that where we can find it?
Yeah, so there's a project webpage, which is here. There's this QR code. This is going to be posted on the buses as well as at the transit centers. And then from that project website, there's a link to the survey. And I'm also pretty sure that you get in contact with Michael or RTC communication staff, that they can get you some text or whatever to put in any kind of like newsletter or email out to different user groups to be able to fill it out.
And this information will also be, this is Michael DeLude again for the record. This information is also going to be spread out through our social media outlets as well, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. So you should be able to get the QR code and the website address as well through those.
Yeah, and then before I leave, I'll just post the link into the chat just so that if you can't get the QR code off the screen.
So are there any other questions? All right, do I have a motion to accept acknowledge the receipt of the presentation?
Amber Sosa, motion to accept.
Thank you, Amber. Do I have a second?
For Dietrich, City of Reno, second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, thank you so much for the presentation. All right, moving on to item 6. Acknowledgement and receipt of a presentation on the electric and alternative fuel vehicle infrastructure and advanced mobility plan.
Thank you. I will hand it over to James Weston, project manager for this item. James, if you
I couldn't figure out the unmute when having all these screens up. As Rebecca mentioned, my name is James West. I'm a senior planner at RTC. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
It's not in slideshow mode, but we can see it fine. There you go.
There you go. Yeah.
Thanks. And like it was mentioned, this is the Advanced Mobility and Alternative Fuel Study. project vision is to enhance transportation safety, efficiency, sustainability, and equity in Washoe County through the effective applications of emerging innovative mobility solutions. The project mission, as it says here, is to outline the steps necessary to design and integrate emerging innovative mobility solutions in Washoe County within the plan and existing transportation network. Support electric and alternative fuel vehicle adoption by making charging and alternative fueling sites as accessible and convenient as gas station fueling stations. Promote advanced mobility solutions that benefit the broad range of Washoe County residents, visitors, and workers. Prioritize equity when planning for the future of transportation in Washoe County. Improve awareness of electric, alternative fuels, connected and autonomous vehicles among individuals and businesses in Washoe County. Remove financial and other barriers to adopting emerging technologies for residents, visitors, and workers in Washoe County. Provide an industry-leading transportation network that integrates emerging technologies to promote my screen just went out. To promote safe and efficient travel across Washoe County. Promote the success of regional freight corridors in and through Washoe County by supporting and incorporating emerging technologies in the trucking industry. Identify the impacts of advanced mobility solutions on travel behavior and understanding how to integrate them into the planning process. One part of this study was to identify the existing conditions and look what's already in place in the Washoe County, Nevada, and the surrounding area. These were some of the existing conditions that we identified. And we also want to identify the impacts of advanced mobility, including safety, air quality, equity, freight, travel demand modeling, etc. The next steps, we're pretty far in this plan. We are currently waiting on the draft from our consultant. By beginning of next month, we're looking to open the plan for public comment. 2 weeks later to close it, and then late January to show this to the board. And we're currently, like I said, we're waiting on the final report. And thanks. Is there any comments?
Does anybody have any questions for James?
Hi, this is Alex with NDOT. I did have a question. I know this is an interesting topic. So my question is this study, is it looking only at like public facilities, that would be here, or is it going to be a mix of like public and private facilities?
Both.
Both, okay. Cool, thank you.
Anyone else? Well, then do I have a motion to accept this presentation on the electric and alternative fuel vehicle infrastructure?
Daniel Inoue, Washoe County Health, move to accept.
Thank you, Daniel. Do I have a second?
Alex Wolfson, second.
Yeah, so moved.
Thanks, Alex. And all in favor?
Aye.
All right. So now we're moving on to development updates. Item number 7. Do we have any development updates? All right, I don't hear any. So then we'll move on to item 8, which is member items. City of Reno, do you have anything to speak about?
Yeah, I just have a couple items of interest. First off, we're working with NDOT to restrict truck traffic on Stead Boulevard to the left lane to provide a little bit better separation between truck traffic and pedestrians on the sidewalk through the school zone there at O'Brien, just immediately north of US 395 interchange. Let's see, the other item of interest is the university asked for a name change of North Center Street to University Way. And that went through the Washoe County Renaming Committee, and that is going before City Council this Wednesday. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. The Airport Authority.
Hi, good morning. This is Lissa Butterfield with the Airport Authority. Just an update from last month. We did have a board workshop earlier this week on our landside operations planning study, and the board did approve alternate 2 to proceed forward in the study. Alternate 2 is the option that I showed you last month, where the new rental car facilities will be constructed north of our existing loop road with terminal way frontage. It'll move it out of the airport loop road and away from the public parking garage and into a dedicated area with frontage along terminal way. The center of that rental car facility would line up approximately with Villanova Avenue. Once we finalize the plan, I'm happy to bring it back to RTC TAC so that you can see the full landside development plan as approved by the board later this year. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. City of Sparks.
I have nothing for today.
Thanks, Amber. Oh, okay, thanks, Ian. FHWA.
They're not on the call today.
Oh, okay, I couldn't remember if they were here or not. Washoe County, is Mitch here?
I'm here. I don't have any updates this time. Thanks.
Okay, thanks, Mitch. Air quality, Daniel.
Yes, good morning, Daniel Inouye, Washoe County Health. I'd like to share a funding opportunity that's available through the state. It is the VW settlement funds. This will be the 3rd round of applications or projects that will be coming through for review and awarding of those funds. There are some changes this year to the qualifications. One is that previous award winners will not be eligible for this round. So trying to introduce new applicants and new awards to come in. The funds will be focusing on replacing diesel equipment with non-diesel. So either cleaner gas fuels or totally electric. And the difference this year is also that it will be funding the incremental cost of the replacement. So if you go from, let's say, a diesel school bus to electric school bus, it will pay for that incremental difference. Wanted to share this with the group. The folks on this call or this meeting have their own fleets that could be candidates for this grant, but also wanted to encourage the group to also share with the partners that they're also involved with. Quite a bit of warehousing and DCs that are out there that could be eligible for possibly yard trucks for replacement. A lot of co-benefits related to that. One would be to not have to have diesel fuel storage on site. So a lot of co-benefits with that. I'll share the information with Rebecca and let her redistribute to the group, but really wanted to encourage the members here to look at their own fleets, but also look at the partners that they work with, or the customers, I should say, that they work with. And there could be some opportunities to really have a transformative change to the way transportation is, or to decarbonize the transportation sector. So with that, I will push it back to you, Julie. Thank you.
Thanks, Daniel. That's great information. So if anybody needs that, reach out to either Daniel or Rebecca. Thank you for sharing. Hopefully you'll share that and get that information to us. Appreciate that. NDOT, do you have any updates?
So this is Alex. I have a couple quick updates on projects that we're working on. So first one is the Spaghetti Bowl. Work is progressing there. Tomorrow morning, the eastbound Wells on-ramp to I-80 or I-80 eastbound Wells on-ramp will reopen. That's been closed for the last about 3 months. It'll be kind of a new merge pattern. So just something to keep an eye on, but we'll actually have 2 lanes reopened to get back to 580, 395, which will help a little bit, but still plenty of work to go there. The other update also on 580, we recently just started on a project about a week or 2 ago, kind of an emergency / urgent project between Mill Street and Moana Lane to do kind of a pothole repair, sort of resurface, try and get that that driving surface a little bit smoother. It's definitely kind of falling apart a little bit. So it's not a full reconstruct or anything, but hopefully it'll be a smoother ride when this project's done. So that's all I have. I know Jillian was also on. I don't know if she has anything.
I don't have anything at this time. Thank you.
All right, that was it. And that you don't have anything else? Thank you, Alex. Okay, is regional on? I thought I heard.
Yes, Chris Tolley, Team
Chris,
RPA.
yeah.
No real updates. We are in the process of working on this next year's Truckee Meadows annual report submittal and other information. So the highlight there is that we'll be reaching out to each of our affected entities or the affected entities and jurisdictions to address what we are hoping to get for this next year. Again, that's regarding the Truckee Meadows annual report. And then closely related to that is the PIP, or the Public Infrastructure Investment Plan, that was part of the 2019 Regional Plan Update. We will be reaching out in tandem with the TMR regarding that process. And then work continues on the Natural Resources Plan or the NR Plan. And I hope to have an update or a couple updates for this next meeting, but that would be related to some of the work that we have done in terms of data collection. And then also we've got a field trip that we are preparing that anybody can participate in and provide comments. That would be including the public. So, but more to come on that this next week. And that concludes my updates. Thanks.
Thanks, Chris. And then the school district?
There's nobody on from school district
Okay.
today.
And nobody on for Indian Colony either, right?
No, Elaine's here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No worries.
Hi, good morning. No updates for the colony today.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to item 9, any agenda items for the future TAC meetings? All right, not hearing any. How about RTC? Oh.
Julie, if I could note for the record, due to the Thanksgiving and Family Day holiday, we'll be having to post the December agenda a little earlier. So if anybody has any items, I'll be reaching out probably next week and working to get things going.
Thanks, Rebecca. How about item 10 is RTC staff items?
Hi, Julie, this is Dan Denges for the record. I just wanted to, I guess, apologize for any confusion I might have caused with some of the calendar invites. We are going to try to migrate to an all virtual meeting format. I mean, it's technically what we're doing now, but we do have the hybrid option if anyone did want to come in person. We're just working out some questions about open meetings laws as far as public comment is concerned, but we're going to be probably hosting a new Zoom format using the webinar function. So it'll pretty much look the same as what you're used to now. It's just a way to allow the public to participate if they wish to. So there might be a few bugs to work out over the next couple months. So just apologies in advance if that is the case, but I thank you everyone for your patience as we transition to this different format.
Thanks, Dan. I think we're all very understanding of these challenges, so don't have any problems with it. Are there any other items, RTC?
This is Rebecca. I have a couple items. First of all, I just want to congratulate City of Reno safety with NDOT, and it was City of Reno Traffic Engineering and RPD. They won the Strategic Highway Safety Plan Project of the Year for the safety zone that was installed on 4th Street. So I just want to say congratulations to them. And second, I wanted to mention that November for Nevada statistically is the highest month of pedestrian fatalities. And as you know, Sunday is the time change. So we are running a campaign through Vision Zero called #DuskToDawn. And just trying to remind people to have locked eyes. They save lives. Look for pedestrians. Even if you're just driving to work in your neighborhood, it might be darker and there might be students waiting for the buses. So be mindful of that. And we have a campaign that's being kicked off a little later today, where we have safety messages on 19 of our buses on the tails, on the back of the buses, and then 4 on the sides with the queens. We got some grant funding for that program, just to remind people that saving a life is easy to slow down. So I just want to mention that. And then Michael Moreno asked me to mention to the TAC that RTC is still offering free transit rides until November 19th. And lastly, masks are still required on transit, and that will be through mid-January at this point. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thanks, Rebecca. Anybody else? All right, then moving on to item 11. Do we have any public comment?
We have not received any more public comment.
Okay. All right, and then item 12, adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Vice Chair Murphy, so moved.
Thank you. And do I have a second?
Can I second my motion?
Yes.
No.
Amber
Somebody
said,
else out there, come on.
second.
Thank you, Amber. And do all in favor of adjourning?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we're adjourning at 9:41. Thank you so much. We'll see you in a month.